So this journey that we've been on from the beginning, and I've tried to put on a couple of slides, my own personal reflections of what's happened over the last 5 years and how they've affected all of us. And the issue is, when you're trying to build a boat, you know, Bob used the model, you know, he used a boat, constructing a boat. What we're actually trying to do with Surat is busily build the boat, try and construct some way of navigating it, making sure that we had the right provisions on board to go wherever, because we didn't know really where we were going. So this situation of constructing something as you're moving, and I think this is something that Toxrisk, has gained a lot of benefit from in its design going forward. And so, personal reflections. Well, I have a couple of slides if you can put them up there. And these are very personal reflections, as you can see from the front picture here. Next slide, please. When the journey began in 2011, I was thinking about how to rally and create some feeling of a different culture, the word culture. So we coined the famous C's in Surat, and these have followed us through, and I'm going to try and illustrate my own personal view of the way Surat's developed using a couple of C words. It's not my surname begins with C, but I like the C words, and they're kind of illustrative. So to create this culture that we needed to get Surat to work, you had to have these C's in place, and I'm going to try and illustrate how they were relevant to each of the various stages as we went along. So we had to have the creativity, collaboration, and courage. And this one is often forgotten, courage. It's a C that means an awful lot, and it's very human, and it's all about stitching people together. But as we went through the journey, let me see here, as we went through the journey, we added other kinds of C words as well, and many of them are very positive. And if you've got an Oxford English Dictionary, this is about the third line of the C's. I didn't get any further. But actually, some of the C words are a little bit more negatively inclined. And this English word here, as you can see, wait, let's go back again. This English word here, cajolement. As a member of the SCP and as a chairman of the co-chairman of the SCP, sometimes using the cajoling tool, in other words, making people actually encouraging them to go somewhere where they haven't been before by either pulling or pushing or doing whatever you have to do. So these C's were very, very relevant. And I just tried to illustrate from the original pictures that were put down in book number 1 of the Surat program, some of the C's that I think we should take away from the Surat experience and really think about to try and perpetuate in creating a culture that carries on the work. This who, I mean, putting these people together demanded an enormous amount of collaborative spirit. Science is, I mean, it's easy to say collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. But when you're talking about people's history books, their scientific track record, their ideas, their, if you like, their egos, because we all have egos. This spirit of collaboration is extremely important, and it's something that I think has been exemplary throughout the Surat program once the culture was developed within the project, which is rather a new culture. The how. These are just the sort of multiple lines that were originally put down, and I think the important thing about the how here is the fact that it demanded an awful lot of courage, both from the sponsors, the Commission, and also Cosmetics Europe. They started with a courageous attempt to put something together, to finance something where there were a lot of, probably a lot of, we say in Swedish, elaka tungor, tongues that speak badly about it in corridors, but you still had to push that through. All the way through, you've seen courage in application as well. So in the political, economic, infrastructure, and operational challenges, courage has been a C that in my world has been prevalent throughout. In terms of the what, and we've heard a lot about what, that demanded a free spirit of creativity. A lot of these groups that were working here with their very defined project proposals, all of a sudden, when we started to talk about the need to actually apply them to do some safety assessment, say what? Safety assessment? What's that? then we had to impose that upon the scientific creativity scenario. And I think that has been also a component of the Surat success. So that's a big C there for me. And in terms of the why, the overall effort of why all of these have been extremely operative in concert, there's another C for you. So, congratulations. From my point of view, it's been a great journey. Long live the Surat culture, because this has been a unique cultural exercise, and I think it should live on in the future. This is to be continued, as we all have seen. And this is my favorite picture of all. This is to celebrate the issue of animal welfare in a way, but also anything is possible. And if anybody reads into that, and pigs will fly, in fact, this was painted by a person who imagined pigs flying. And I believe that anything is possible in this area. We just have to focus on those big C's as we go through the project. So that's my own personal view.